welcome to Scotland, and we're delighted to have you amongst us. And really, Stephen asked me, and it was only last night that I realised what he was asking me, because he checked up with me if I had prepared. And I said, no, I haven't prepared, but I'll think of something to say between now and tomorrow morning. But really, in all honesty, there's nothing. I'm not an authority in Boston at all. I like reading him, reading his work, and I like listening to the privilege of sermon audio. This book that I've brought with me, it's only been in publication, public for 4 years, since 2002. The title of it is Scattered and Kept, and really, even if I read the whole book to you, which I'm not going to do, it wouldn't do justice to Boston, because he was an amazing authority. The depth, he was a giant, really, intellectually and spiritually. And the depth of what he went to is beyond anything I could relate to you. I think one of the early books I was given was this book Stephen was talking about, Human Nature in its Fourfold State. Somebody gave me a gift of that book when I was in my 20s, and it made an amazing impact on my life. I think that, it tells you everything about life and death and beyond death. And I think that probably every household in Scotland in the 1700s and the late 1700s, the 1800s, that possessed a Bible, and most households would have possessed a Bible by that time, they also had a copy of the Human Nature in its Fourfold State. My wife had an uncle that he was a very hard-working fellow, and he took quite poorly in the latter few years of his life. And any time we went to visit him, he had the Bible on one side of his table and Human Nature in its Fourfold State. And I said to him, after a year or two visiting him, or period of time, I said, you must have read that book well and truly by now. And he said, every time I finish reading it, I start again. And every time I read it, I find something in it that I hadn't discovered the previous time. So it's an amazing book, and I think that it's quite phenomenal that there's 300 years round about now since Boston passed away, and the legacy he left Scotland is phenomenal. I mean, there are many other men who left a legacy as well, a spiritual legacy, but Boston's legacy was quite amazing. And it's quite phenomenal that, thanks to this man here, that 300 years later, he's now got 600 lectures or sermons of Boston on sermon audio. I keep monitoring him. And he has 600 in 40-odd languages. I mean, if somebody had said to Boston on his deathbed, there will be 600 sermons going around the world in so many languages, he would have said, well, keep dreaming, you know. It's quite phenomenal. And as I said, there's nothing I can really say that can do justice to Boston, and I'm conscious of your time as well. But within the church, Boston stood for truth. I mean, truth was sacrosanct to him, and that's the one commodity today that our society desperately lacks. You know, I'm in business and I'm involved in the world to a great extent, and it's quite amazing. In 50 years, and I'm young enough or old enough to be able to say that the deterioration in values in society, in the professional world. I mean, I was saying to somebody the other day that, you know, the accounting profession and the legal profession used to be a service. Scotland was renowned for its legal profession and for the accounting profession. And in fact, every transaction on a secular level that went from Europe to America, or vice versa, most of them came through Scotland. Some came through London, but most of them came to Scotland. And the reason for that was the integrity of the professional world was immaculate. Today, it's all over the place. And the accounting profession and the legal profession has turned into an industry. And the reason for that is the lack of truth among the professional within the professional world. And I believe that only a reformation in the church and a restoration of what we had a few hundred years ago will correct this. Nothing else will correct it. Boston had a lone voice in the Church of Scotland, and he was an amazing man. He was very single-minded. He believed what he believed, and he wouldn't deviate from it for anything. He sighed at the time, and he cried about the abominations done in the land. And I mean, if you think of what Scotland was like then compared to what it's like now, I don't know what he would think of it now, but we are where we are, and we all have a part to play in the correction of Scotland and of Britain and of America by the grace of God. We find it very encouraging what's happening in America with Trump and with all that he's doing there compared to our own feeble government in Westminster in London. But nevertheless, I think that until the church comes back, society and the secular world can't come back. And I think it's the other book that I should mention to you that Boston wrote, which had tremendous coverage in Scotland at one time, was called The Crook in the Lot. And that really was about adversity in one's life and the reason for adversity and what it would lead to eventually. Having visited this church, I would suggest that you buy and read and think about what's written in Boston's Fourfold State. And even The Crook of the Lot, it used to be a phenomenally popular and very, very valued book in Scottish terms. The first sermon in this book is Redeeming the Time, because the days are evil. I mean, the days are seriously evil today. I ask myself, how am I redeeming the time? And what is my legacy going to be after I leave this life? And it's really Boston asked his congregation that all the time. What are you going to leave behind you? And there was a story told about him that he was an amazing character. I mean, he got involved with society at every level, and he got involved with people at every level. And he approached this local worthy who was a poacher, and what that means in Scottish terms, I don't know if you use the terminology poacher in where you come from, but what it means over here is that you go out and steal game or fish that's forbidden otherwise, that it's privately owned by the landlords or something. And this character, he used to go poaching every Sunday. And Boston approached him and said, what do you do this for? And he said, I get total freedom to do it on a Sunday, because the gamekeepers are either in church or they're sleeping. They're recovering from a hard week's work. And Boston asked him, how much do you make of this from a monetary point of view? And he said, I make half a crown. That's Scottish. That would be probably equivalent to 20 cents today in dollar. It was 12 and a half pence in sterling. And Boston said to him, if I give you half a crown every Sunday, will you start coming to church? And he said, that would be much easier for me than poaching. So he started coming to church, and within a few years, he ended up being a member of this church, or the old church as it was then, and actually eventually became a serious pillar of the church. But the text I would leave you with is out of Psalm 18, and the Lord liveth, and blessed be my rock. And that's the final chapter in this. It's a fantastic book. I would recommend it. It was printed and published by Ettrick Press, so you'll remember that. We know Ettrick Press well. And I'm not on any commission to sell the book, believe it or not, but it's called The Believer's Rock, and the text was in Psalm 18, verse 46, "The Lord liveth, blessed be my rock." Thank you very much for listening. Thank you.
Thank you.